Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. This is Aurorum Planewalker, Session 3, Part 2. Honestly, that break wasn't an entirely necessary break. That break was because Jake needed a hug. Jake, did you get your hug?
Yeah.
Was your daughter still awake?
I hugged myself.
Oh,
no,
okay.
she's definitely not awake.
She's asleep. Gosh, I don't know if you need to.
Yeah.
Like my daughter, we put her to bed around like 9 o'clock because she doesn't have to get up early. So we put her to bed around like 9 o'clock. And, oh God, sometimes she doesn't go to sleep till after midnight. She'll sit there in like the dark playing. Because like she has like a night light and she's like, that's enough light for me. It's just like play. So,
yeah.
But I did quickly, make myself some breakfast. So, some eggs. Grab, honestly, that ham is not like, it's like, what's it called? Canadian bacon or anything. It's legit like ham that you put on a sandwich. But I was like, that's cool. Good enough for me. And some home fries with, I melted cheese on them. So yay. So I saw that the Aid of the Martyr came in from Unspeakable, but, I didn't know who it was for. It didn't specify. I assume for 3, but.
That would be good.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need it.
Okay. So let's, while we're waiting for that response, let's go back to you. You reach out and you attempt to do it. The funny part is the concentration check is because in Pathfinder, and you guys never adopted the critical success, critical failure rules, which had an effect on Rena. Anyways, you never adopted those rules. So natty 1 does not mean instant failure, but it does mean that success is unattainable with your modifiers. Don't forget to get rid of the temporary plus don't forget to get rid of the +5 to your concentration check, so it's back down to a 13. Anyways, so you sir reach out and you try to invoke the power of Vroga himself. It was mentioned in chat, I thought that was once a week, and that is true if he's trying to increase his caster level by 1. It's once a day if he's not increasing his caster.
No.
Please.
No. What it is I can do it once a month as a swift. If it works, once a month as a swift. Otherwise, it's once a week as I can cast something as like a 10-minute ritual cast.
Ah, that's right. That's right. All right. So, yeah. Anyways, reaches out, touches her. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. You do not send her away.
Alright, so he's got nothing else to do but attack.
Well, that was your standard action.
No, it was a swift.
Oh, that's right, because your feet allows you to use a swift action. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I will attempt to attack now, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And aid was going on her, I imagine?
Yeah.
She got 3 temporary health points. So she's at, what's that, 9? And considering I'm rolling 1d8.
Yeah, 9.
I'm rolling 1d8 plus 7, unless I roll a natty 1 again. But I won't call it right before I roll it. Because I definitely don't have a hack. Definitely don't have a hack for this thing. It would be too difficult to go back and find all of them. But I'd love a mashup of all the times that I called the natty 1 and it rolled. That'd be a fun mashup.
So I crit. Maybe.
I'm not concerned about your critical hit. No, you don't crit. The 13 does not crit, sir.
Oh, it's crit confirmed. Yeah.
You have to. Are you comfortable with your 13?
I am. We'll roll damage anyway.
Okay. So no crit.
So that's 15.
And last time you did what? 20? No, 22.
Yep. 21.
21 last time. 21 and 15, 36. It could have done 59 damage if you only had lucked it. If only you had lucked it, you could have done 59 damage. And now, because you didn't luck it, unfortunately, the creature is still dead.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you whack it hard enough that, honestly, it doesn't have a ton of health points compared to some of the other things you face. You hit it, you're just like, no! And you see, like, the vines or whatever that have been grappling at you and pulling at you, that the is a bit of, like, how a sap or a gel comes out of some plants when you when you cut into them. It seems to be like oozing out. So you.
What I haven't done as well is I never changed the size of the weapon. It would do different damage, I think.
That's okay. You still killed it.
Well, I get my second attack at the creature within range.
So technically speaking, attacking while grappling, it takes a standard action. That was when I double checked the grappling flowchart. So that took your standard action to do that attack roll. So let me just try. No, break and grapple takes that. 1 second.
I thought I just seen that I could do a full attack.
No, you should be able to do a full attack. I'm sorry, it was break and grapple. Takes the standard, so you can make your second attack with a -5.
Okay. I'm no longer grappled, which is good. Come on.
Hey,
Does that hit?
That hits.
Beautiful.
I know.
Alright, so the damage is what's it for? Is it 2d6?
What size was it before? What damage was it before?
Medium, whatever, 1d8. I think it goes to 2d6.
No, 1d8 becomes 1d10.
Does it?
1d10 becomes 2d6.
Okay, yeah. Alright, so I'll roll it here. Roll. 1d10. Oh, the damage has changed too. Okay, let's see if... hang on, let me work out this modifier. Because that goes back to... Sorry, it's not updating.
It's okay. I'm enjoying my home fries. I don't know if you guys call that, but more or less potatoes that are seasoned and cooked. We call them home fries here. Some people will call, if you like deep fry stuff, home fries, like borderline French fries in the morning. I'm like, those aren't home fries, those are French fries in a different shape.
That's a 25 on the one holding her.
Holy crap! And you had already harmed that one beforehand when you originally ran at it for like, I think 11 points of damage.
10, I think it was.
When you called Vroga to give you a blessing to send your friend away, Vroga answers your call, but not in the way that you expected. Yeah, you used your feet. But he gives you the strength. He gives you the might, the battle fury enough to roar and attack away at the one that's on you, and ripping away from those vines, them still kind of like wrapped around your legs and thighs and whatnot, because remember, you're large size now. And you just start smashing at the vines that are holding her as well. Finally, she's able to get air in her lungs, which she hasn't been able to for this whole time. She finally is able to get air into her lungs as you kill the vines that have been holding her, that have been grappling her this whole time. She's just gasping for breath. What is Grishka doing?
Seeing if there's any more vines would be the first thing. He's probably got one hand on one of the axe and he's looking around.
Perception check. Sorry. Just laughing for a second. I was like, is he going to roll a 1 again?
Yeah, it looked like it.
So beforehand, you didn't notice the vines because you made a survival check and you didn't succeed the DC of the survival check. But now that you're actively looking for them, you know what they look like. The thickness of the vine, the coloration of it, the fact that they move ever so slightly in a certain way. That's, not with the breeze. You realize there's 3 others of these vines around that are within the vicinity, within like eye range. None like immediately around you, and you know you can avoid them. You know what they look like. What is it? There's only 3 dangers of the fire swamp. We've already identified 2 of them. Lightning sand, easy enough to avoid. Right? There's a quite little popping sound right beforehand. RUSs? I don't believe they exist. If you've never seen it, I'm sorry, but you should probably contemplate life choices. Anyway, so yeah, you see them. You know you can identify them. You know you can be safe. What's your modifier to survival?
16.
It's a DC 20, meaning you have to roll a 4 or higher to succeed. Meaning you have a 80% chance of success. And considering you just got out of a combat seeing these things, it's going to be very fresh on your mind. You almost saw your friend die before you because of these vines. So you don't have to worry about accidentally bumping into them in the future. So anyways, you get up and what do? You start walking off?
I'm gonna guide 3 to safety.
Mm-hmm. Like away from these things?
Really, really fucked up. Yeah, so I guide her away from them.
Mm-hmm. She's just coughing a little bit more, still kept finishing catching her breath. Thank you. That fucker caught me off guard.
Yeah, I've faced these before.
Have you?
A long time ago.
Where?
Yeah. Nadir. Where I currently live, actually.
Would have been nice if you gave me a heads up.
They weren't even in my mind. However, I'll be a bit more attentive. Yeah.
I'd like to be mad at you, but you did just save me, so I think I'll pass on it.
You know, I tried to send you back.
What?
I tried to send you back. I thought you were about to die. And I asked him to send you back.
And
he wouldn't.
Interprets I couldn't as he wouldn't.
Exactly. So why do you keep ripping into me about this feat? You do it every time.
No, I just think it's funny because I actually know religious people that are like, if they're not capable of doing something, they're like, it must not have been God's will. And I'm like,
well, anyway, you're just trying to smack talk me, mate. All right, you're interrupting heartfelt RP for your petty jokes.
Just saying. All right. So, anyways, she nods and says, "Well, glad to be by your side." Do we keep going the same way we were before, or do we flip the axe one more time?
You need to recover some strength first.
I'm plenty strong enough.
No, you're not. And he'll break out just a potion and give it to her.
I know it stinks when you don't have a heal bot hanging out next to you.
That's right. I'll give her a cure light. What is that? It's 1d8 plus 2?
Mm-hmm. Classically plus 1. But I think you have slightly better ones. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, plus 2.
Huzzah! She's at 12 plus the 7, 8 of the martyr temp.
So, yeah, the temp goes by, won't it?
What?
The temp goes, so she'll be at... Well, what's her health at now?
Wasn't
the temp's gone, right?
Yeah, well, assuming
so she'll
temp
be
is
12
still
now,
there.
right?
Yeah, it's temp. But then that temp HP is a different pool where she has 7 in.
Yeah.
Temporarily, right?
Yeah. I also need to roll hit dice at some point. Alright, after she drinks it, we'll keep going.
She gets up. Do you flip the axe again?
Yeah.
Okay. Throw the axe in the air. Each of you take a step back. Let it fall. or the handle seems to land, you start walking in that direction. The first creature that you've come across this entire time wasn't even a person. It was vegetation. It was a plant.
Yeah.
Genuinely disheartening.
It's on his mind too, though, also that he wouldn't have expected that here. But it was found, they would just replay that when they first encountered it in a deer. So just while he'd just be thinking about that was strange. Wondering if there's a connection or something.
He gets so distracted he walks into another. No. So you continue away traveling for a while. You guys travel to the point where you have to set up camp, and then in the morning you flip the axe again, and you travel some more. Set up camp again, flip the axe, and travel some more. Eventually, you come to the edge of this place, of this forest that you're in. But it's not like you're just at the edge of the forest. You're at the edge of the island that you're on. Where once again you're looking outwards and upwards, and down and whatnot, and you see other giant floating masses of land that stretch out and beyond where you are. Hoping for an easy one like last time, you look down, and if there's one down there, it's not where you could see it. Clouds and whatnot exist naturally here and there between these different islands. There's enough clouds between where you are and wherever one might be below that you can't see it. Size, distance, cloud cover, whatever it might be, nothing. That means the only other options are the ones that are way out there, or some of the ones floating up there.
I really don't want to do this again.
You think I'm excited about doing this?
I do, actually. I think you're very excited about it.
She looks at you, like, narrowed eyes.
I don't know what to do. I'm not keen on just going somewhere straight away because, I mean, we don't know where we're going. I'm not really hearing the call to battle or anything else.
Unfortunately, you don't seem to be hearing that, no. It's just, again, very, very, very frustrating.
Wow. We'll make camp.
Okay.
I'm not going to go island hopping at the moment.
No problem. So you guys sit down, you make camp as you had said beforehand, and you you know, even though it's early enough in the day, you easily can do a bunch more travel. It's probably a good idea to just relax for a bit. So you, again, said beforehand, you make camp. You lie down and rest. See if you can get any amount of understanding or semblance of what's going on. Having been here for several more days' time, I do need the two of you guys to make me will saving throws, pretty please, and thank you.
Will saves.
And then after you do your two will saves, I'm going to need a perception check from you. Also, apparently Neil misses you too if you read chat.
I don't have chat open at the moment.
Oh, well. Good.
I do miss Neil though.
Because he's simping. Are you happy with her 16?
She got a 16, I forgot. She got a 17 now.
Mm-hmm. Yara seems to be...
and perception's 34.
Well, we can deal with Yara afterwards. So when you are, let's remove this and get rid of it. So you are actually woken up, not by the it getting too bright out or because you got enough rest. Honestly, you didn't necessarily need to rest at this point, anyways. But a few hours into sleeping, you're woken up lying on the ground, simple camp style, ear to the ground. You can hear like almost sounds like galloping on the actual earth itself, on the land itself that you happen to be lying on. It wakes you up because your ear pressed to it. You can hear it louder than you would be able to, obviously, if you were standing up. So kind of like you wake up, and you sit up for a second, you look around. You don't see anything around you. There's enough light that you could easily see. You don't see anything through the trees. Being as perceptive as you are, you put your ear back to the ground. You hear it again. Listening closely, it doesn't sound like running boots. No. It sounds like maybe galloping, almost like hooves running along. Not a single pair of hooves either. It sounds like maybe a few pairs. I'm saying pairs. A few horses. It's hard to count how many. If you had to guess, 3 horses.
3 horses. Whereabouts are they? Are they coming towards me?
You press your ear down again. Nearby, but not directly towards you. Yeah, not directly towards you, but nearby, yes. Like, you think if you needed to, because it's coming closer, but you could tell it's not coming directly towards. You think if you called out, whatever it is close enough I could hear you. If you wanted to run as fast as you could, you might be able to just physically intercept. But that's a different conversation.
He would probably yell. What would he say? He'd probably yell something on the lines of literally something like, who's sneaking around in the woods? Come out and face the light.
He says who's sneaking around in the woods when he hears galloping.
Yeah, well,
No, so you stand up and you're more or less like...
That was a good one.
Right? So you stand up there and...
Change it from the woods to the shadows, alright? You can't see them.
Who's sneaking around in the shadows? Come out and fight! Is what you yell. That startles and brings 3 awake. What in the God's name? She says as she, is kind of startled awake from you just standing and yelling out, like belting out. You listening again with your 35
I'd instantly head back to the earth, see if the...
So you kind of take a deep breath, and so that way you can project very well. Then you kind of drop back down and put your ears to the ground. She's like, is this part of a morning workout?
He just holds his hand up for her to be quiet, listens.
She notices that obviously the signaling and whatnot you guys have amongst each other. And she gets quiet. And she actually, looking at what you're doing, she places her head down to the ground as well. Roll me a perception check, sir. Huzzah.
34 again.
So you, listening to the ground, you can hear the galloping stopped. There's a couple of moments, and then it starts walking towards you. Once again, it's difficult to pick out, but now you're almost positive. There's 3 of them. Almost positive there's 3 of them as they approach. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you had spent money on it, yeah.
As they approach, he'd say, there's 3. Sounds like they're mounted.
She nods and says, wonderful. And, gets up and gets her weapon at the ready. And imagine you get your weapon at the ready. You guys have rested, so you healed up a little bit more. Don't forget you, how many days has it been since that combat? 3. So
I
you
know
would have healed.
you said a few days.
Yeah,
I
3
can
nights.
also fast heal.
What's that?
One of my judgments.
Oh, so you'd be at full health. She'd be at
Yeah.
what is it? Her level times 3, so 15
Yeah.
more health, and the aid would go away.
Put that in hers first. Yeah. So she's. I'm gonna also roll hit die quickly so I can actually have my health for this level.
That's fine. Oh, you never rolled your hit die when you leveled up?
Nope.
What?
No, I didn't. Alright, so I add 5 onto it.
Thank you for joining the fray. It's weird.
Yes.
Where is that? There you are.
Alright, 69 HP, baby.
Woohoo! Yeah. All right. So, when eventually you kind of stand up, you guys have your weapons to the ready, so on and so forth, and then you hear them approaching. You can actually hear it because with your ears standing up now as they approach. And what breaks through from around the trees, you can definitely see there's people on top of horses coming towards you. I mean, they're sitting strange, but there's people on top of horses coming out towards you. Then one of them, like, as 2 are kind of walking towards you, and you can see a third one, almost like strafing, moving its way around the side. You're very obviously looking to take up the flank. Granted, directly behind you is nothing. It's open air. There's not even ground beneath you. It's just fall forever, in theory, fall forever, open skies behind you. But nonetheless, they're trying to get like a side angle. As they're walking to the side around you, you notice, because again, you're incredibly perceptive, that's the strangest looking horse you've ever seen. Like, looking at the flank of the thing, it doesn't have the same kind of like coarse fur like you usually see on a typical horse. It's very strange. Like, it almost looks a bit more shaggy than typical fur. It kind of throws you off. But either way, the 2 people coming towards you, they're very strange looking. The people coming towards you don't just have heads and bodies, arms, whatever, as they're riding these horses up. They actually have these huge horns that come off of their head. These starting right at their brow, and they stretch out and kind of like curl around and back. You know, like everybody wants their tiefling to look like instead of looking normal. It's very strange looking, almost goat-like horns as they're stepping towards. Then once they get within range that you can see them a bit more clearly, about 50 feet away, there's no trees between you and them. You realize they're not riding horses. They are the horses? Their waist does not sit atop the back of the steed with their legs wrapped around it and a horse head between their chest and your eyes. Their torso is the head of this horse. It's not quite a horse, though. Again, the fur seems off. You realize that this creature before you looks like some sort of amalgamation between man and goat. It must be Tom Brady's children. The creatures that are there are again standing. So again, 4-legged, to be clear, because somebody mentioned satyr in chat. They are 4-legged. They do ride up, as you'd imagine, a centaur being. As to whether or not your character would even know what a centaur is, do you have any form of knowledge, history, or anything like that for your home plane?
I have knowledge planes.
Okay, knowledge planes might help you. You can roll it.
Other than that, it's knowledge. The only knowledge I have is religion.
You can roll knowledge planes. That's fine. Go ahead. Let's see
There's
if you can
nothing
roll
religious texts or anything about these things.
Roll.
So I roll planes though.
Mm-hmm. Planar knowledge is very rare.
Yeah, 18.
You don't know what these things are. Oh wait, does that include the plus wisdom modifier to identify creatures?
No, it doesn't. So +4.
22. Are you comfortable with your 22?
I don't have any more luck die, but I wouldn't use it on that anyway.
You don't have any more luck die. Nobody loves you.
No. Plenty of people love me, mate. Look at all the things I've chewed through so far.
So the creatures that ride up, they stand there and oh, did my camera just turn off again? Why is my camera randomly turning off? Oh, why does it seem to be overheating? That's unusual. That's very unusual.
There you
That's
go.
weird. The battery's full. Huh. Very weird. Sorry about that. So, it's not this light that's in front behind it. No, because I've used it a bunch of times before. Shouldn't be any issues with that. That's very weird. All right, my apologies. Continuing on. So, yeah, you, the creatures that come standing before you, they come riding up, and then, one of them calls out to you in, a language that I honestly don't think you understand. Scrolling down. Nope. Calls out to you in a language that you don't understand. And more or less says, and you listen for a moment, and how do you respond?
I mean, hearing that, I would, are you opening things?
No, I'm not touching your character sheet.
Oh,
Maybe
randomly
Neil is.
opening tabs. I'll cast.
It's the ghost of Roll20 that I actually keep with me to make natty ones happen when I call foil.
Yeah, exactly. I'll never trust you after this. So I will cast that. And when you cast a spell, you can attempt a DC 15 linguistics check. Okay. That's creature touched. Alright, so that's just for me. I won't bother with that then. So I cast a spell.
Okay, you cast a spell, and then what do you say?
He casts a spell. They would see him do that, and he would then say, "Repeat your last." I don't speak natively your language.
You call out to us from the edge of a cliff, threatening our lives.
Now, if you take that as a threat, I don't really know why you're here, but I do wish to face the things in the night.
You explicitly said that you wanted us to not hide in shadows and to come out and fight. And we arrive and you have weapons.
I actually
in
said
hand.
come into the light. Actually,
Bluff
Scott,
check.
you took it as fight.
Bluff check.
No, I literally took that. If someone went back and clip it, you would hear it.
Oh. Wait, really? Did somebody say to come into the light? Chat, I need a vote on this one. Come into the light, yay or nay? I need votes, chat. Come into the light, yay or nay? What did he say?
Someone clip it because I did it. Clip it.
We'll lead it to democracy. Come into the light, yay or nay? We're within a week of voting. I just see a weird image that I have no idea what that is. Pride lion. It's a lion? That doesn't look like a lion to me. But apparently it's a yay. It's a weird yay. All right. He says, I may have misunderstood.
So you understood when I spoke?
I did.
I need assistance in understanding you, though.
That's because you are a lesser being.
He just raises an eyebrow. And he says, I've been here for a long time. You are the first sentient creatures I've come across.
We live in a very vast and open place. Why are you here, traveler?
I'm here to seek somebody who knows Vroga's will. I have questions that needed.
I don't think anybody would.
Things.
I don't think anybody would claim to know the will of a god. Somebody who would claim to know the will of a god would be a fool. Looks directly at Neil. Lingers. And then returns.
Just plan a look there. He just looks into wherever Neil is.
Mm-hmm.
Gives him that look. Okay. And he says, there was other beings that spoke for other gods, what they wanted companions of mine to know. And I've come across... I'm hearing strange things, and it affects all us mortals. That souls are not... Souls that are rightly Vrogas are not coming here. They've been stopped. I seek guidance.
I've heard this as well. I've actually heard this. There is a disturbance that's happening. We've been trying to discover things ourselves. Unfortunately, there's the answers lie outside of our reach.
You know no beings with that speak on behalf of Vroga.
Oh, well, I don't know about beings that speak specifically on behalf of Vroga. The Deva have answers like that. The Deva, the Planetars, they would have answers such as what you are asking. But there are other ways to get answers as well. There are other peoples that have the ability to hold these answers, have record of them. Unfortunately, I just burned my foot. Unfortunately, the answers that we seek to find are not going to be from either of them, as they do not tend to spend their time with lower beings like us.
What answers are you looking for? Same as me.
Same as you. But we know where to find them.
May I accompany you?
You probably cannot. And he takes several steps forward, where he kind of like walks up to near where you are. And then you can see the other one behind him takes more steps forward as well. So as he kind of walks over towards near the edge, so putting himself in a bit of a precarious position, you see a woman behind him who again takes a few more steps forward, but you can see she's kind of poised to act if she needs to. She's standing there, and she actually has two swords out. Again, these are large-sized creatures. They're pretty decent sized. So the sword that she's holding in one hand reminds you kind of of a falcata, and the other one in the other hand reminds you somewhat of a scimitar, as she's standing there holding the two of them. It's not like she has them out and poised and ready to attack, but she definitely has them, in front of her, draped comfortably, waiting in case she does need to act forward. He again walks to the, not quite to the cliff's edge, but pretty close to it, closer to it than you currently are, and says, "Out there," and stretches, I have no idea why my camera's doing this. That is frustrating, but I'll keep talking while I get this fixed for now. So, for some reason it's overheating. I'll have to look at that later on. I haven't used it since Friday. I don't think I left it on overnights or anything. Anyways, he says, over there, beyond, and kind of points outwards at a different direction. Says, not where you see those islands immediately before you, so those lands immediately before you. Beyond them, you see the small one, and you can roll me a perception check. Oh, what is that? Sorry? 29? Oof.
29.
Yeah, you absolutely see it. So what it is that the island that is specifically he is pointing towards, it's a good bit away from the other ones. I mean, we're talking from that distance that you fell before, this is easily 10 times that distance. Because unless the island is small, which none of them seem to be particularly small that you've seen so far, unless it's small, it's pretty damn far away to make it look as small as it does. He says, beyond there, held inside their great ice castles, that's where the giants are keeping. That's where the giants are keeping the secrets that we seek. They have dealings with other planes, and it's a place where we could, find the answers we were hoping for.
And what are the Deva? Where are they?
If things are as you say and as I have heard, then very likely they're busy handling whatever problems are causing this to take place.
I have a problem. You are native to this place. You were born here,
Yes,
he says.
just as you are a traveler, not born here.
I'm not. Though this is Verga's. This is the Battle Fury's land.
It is, and it isn't.
It is, but it isn't.
It is his home, but it's not only his home.
Who else resides here?
People like myself and others.
Do any other gods call this place home?
Thinks for a moment. There are legends. There are stories that others have before. But this is old knowledge. It's the oratory. From long ago, before we had writing.
So you have legends, stories.
Much like what you, people from your lower homes do.
Would you tell me?
Tell you what?
Tell me this legend you speak of.
Oh,
In return,
I am no record keeper. I just know fleeting details.
well, anything at this point. Let me begin with why I am here. Because I believe I'll need your help. And I would like to have it. I am from... You know where I'm from. I'm not from here. I was born in a place called the Barrenlands. People doing Verga's will saved me when I was young. Saved us. He looks at Yara. And as such, I've dedicated my life to serving him as best as I can. Now, not only through fighting, and I love to fight, but through freedom. Now, I don't know exactly why. I was led to a land called the Deer. There was a curse over the land. And me and other companions of mine, who turned out to be servants of other gods, or at least one of them wasn't at that stage. But we broke the curse and freed those bound by it. And they ascended. Now, I've always assumed it was Verga's will, as the other two, at least, have spoken to their gods. The Martyr and the Arbiter, they're called. Have you heard of them?
The Arbor, her, and the Martyr. I have not. I know little of gods. I know of Vroga and of Lady Aravel.
He spits at Lady Aravel. And he says...
you say that and he goes, that was unpleasant.
He doesn't try to pay attention to it and continues. During this time, they spoke with a Deva that served both of their gods. And they were informed that the Arbiter and the Martyr have stopped the flow of souls. Now, I had a hand in freeing the other two, and it must have been Verga's will. But now I'm not so sure how to act. I'm not so sure what I'm meant to do. Because if they've stopped people being able to come here when they pass, stopped Verga from being allowed to claim what's his, I need to know. So I came here, seeking answers. Can you help me?
Well, I can tell you that's an interesting tale, friend. But I'm not sure I can help you. I'm a scout. I'm a scout for my herd. The three of us are. It's our job to ride about and to discover the dangers, to check on the details of what is happening in the islands about, and then to return home and report. What you're talking about is things beyond me. Traversing between the lower places and here, I know of them because we're taught of them, but I've never visited, and certainly don't have the ability to do such things myself. I've never spoken to a god, or had a god speak to me. Nor have I spoken to a deva or planetar or any such thing, as they don't tend to mingle with the lower beings. They have more important matters to attend to. So, I don't think I can be of aid to you. I could give you details about the various islands, and perhaps that could be what you need to move forward. But I don't think I can help you more than that.
You say you're a scout.
I am, yes. And I might say, one of the greater scouts that know this land well. It can be a bit confusing.
Yes. What about your people? Are there any there, lawkeepers with more knowledge, anything that could be of assistance? Or any that may allow a number of you to accompany us?
We do have people that have better understanding than myself. However, I dare say, and he looks back over at the, because he's kind of turned to face you, of course. He looks over your shoulder at the woman with the weapons that's nearby, that you wouldn't be welcome there. You are a lower being, and while my people can certainly be a bit rowdy in their own way, you are not predictable. We, lower beings tend to treat places like this as their next conquest. They come and they kill whatever they can, that they may have trophies to bring home. How do I know the trophy that you desire, despite this story that you've told me, isn't the hoof of a child? Thinking that it gives you some sort of magical reagents to accomplish whatever experiment you're doing back home. Perhaps to grow fruit in these barren lands, or whatever it is that your people do.
I understand.
But that doesn't mean I'm not willing to give you benefit of the doubt and offer whatever aid that I can. As I said, we are out scouting. You're welcome to accompany us as we go to different locations, or I can help guide you to the correct location if that's what you prefer. I've
Love
noted
to be
you
guided to the...
One sec. Hola. Anyways, what were we talking about?
He gave me some options, and I was saying to him, I mean, I'd like to be guided to where I'm supposed to be. However, I can't travel this place and he'll motion at them because I'm, as you said, not native here. There was 3 of us originally, and when we came down from above, one of us didn't make it.
Didn't make it? What do you mean?
He fell and he couldn't stop. He crashed through the trees, but where the impact in his body should lie, and he'll pull out the axe and he'll say, only this remained.
Well, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sure it was upsetting if this person was close to you. But I do have to say, I'm impressed. Not everybody that travels here understands how different our place is from where it is that they came. You were able to ascertain that you can, in fact, choose. To me, it's second nature, and like I said, I've never traveled below to where you're from. But from what I understand, where you're from, this ground is always where you're pulled to, versus you being pulled to where it is you wish to go.
It's difficult for me.
I can understand, just as the idea of entering into a battle with a great giant and not being able to use the land all around me, whether it be currently beneath my hooves or soon to be beneath them, to battle such massive creatures.
This is why I need your assistance. You said maybe I can accompany you to some places. I'm assuming your people are not on this island. You scout out many?
We do scout many.
I need help traversing, and as close as you can get me.
Do you wish to visit the giants inside their ice castles where we intend to scout, or are you looking for... And he actually gestures out towards the beyond and says, or are you trying to find the heart?
The heart is where I wish to go. Though I don't know if I can get there. You said you wish to speak with the giants.
The giants tend to hold secrets. They keep them hidden. And so I was going there to try to see if I could find answers, or at least find weaknesses so others may be able to find the answers. But if you have this connection, if you have a god that speaks to you directly, and you are from the lower areas, and to have the know-how to control which way to go, it is possible that you could get to the heart, whereas most of us don't even try. We would not be welcome there.
In the heart?
In the heart.
Why?
This place moves. It's fluid, if you will. These islands, as you see them, where they stand, they don't stay. If you stand exactly at this spot and look exactly across that direction, you will not always find the same islands, the same distance, at the same angle. The island that you're standing on now is turning. But not only is it turning, it's going up and down. The islands around you are doing the same. They move about like dust in the air. Each one of them, its own fleck. So the distances and everything that you see is relative to now. Over the span of my life, which has been, I must say that I am fortunate to have lived as long as I have, but near in 2 centuries now. I I have seen the islands change many times over. And they never seem to return to how they were before. So, navigating a place like this can be difficult. And the closer to the centers you get, and I dare say, you're pretty far from the heart, the quicker things move. And not only is it the lands that moves, the people here are different. The strength of the place itself is different. I've never experienced such things, but again, we are taught of these things. We are warned. Because in our youth, we seek joy in our own adventures. Adventures that, more often than not, end in dismay, despair.
He nods. I don't know which to do. I don't know whether to travel with you, to seek the giants. They have secrets, so you say.
Yes.
But they don't speak with Vroga's authority.
You say that you can choose the location where you wish to stand, but I assume that this is a difficult choice for you, that you struggle to make it happen. You can't do it at a moment's thought. You cannot run at a wall and up it at the same time.
Correct.
Then perhaps avoiding the giants would be a good thing for you, as you are small, as am I, compared to their incredible size. Being so little, it's difficult to land a telling blow. As annoying as it may be to have someone stab you in the shin or the calf, it's not as annoying as losing an eye or a cut to the throat.
Do you go there to do battle then?
We go there to learn the secrets that they keep hidden. And battle is how we must accomplish that.
He smiles. And the three of you are doing this? Just the three?
We are scouts. We don't intend to battle unless we must. We intend to scout. The heart, however, is a place where battle seems to... We fight because it's what we must do to survive. The closer you get to the heart, you fight because you must fight. When I said despair, dismay, I don't mean because death happens. Sure, you fight and you die, you lose a friend, a loved one, whatever the case may be. It's upsetting. It may harm you, but worse, it changes you. My people, this is our home. We're accustomed to change. We revel in it. We lean into the change. It's how we have learned to survive our culture over the course of countless generations. But a place like that, it changes you more. I don't know if somebody of your mentalities is prepared for such change, but truth be told, you have accomplished things that I have not. You've spoken to a god, and it's spoken to you.
Vroga has not spoken with me directly.
My apologies, I thought you had said that you and your companions have spoken to gods.
Other gods, yes. I thought you were referring to my god.
I may have conflated the two.
He nods.
And Deva? Planetar? Have you spoken to such things?
I have. I've done battle alongside one.
You've battled alongside a Deva.
He nods.
That would be an honor. That's... You can actually see him literally welling up in his eyes. Most creatures that come from your place, I imagine, never see them. I see them often. If if you look up into the night sky, you can see them flying by overhead. You can see the battles occasionally as they rage on. Keep your distance, for the battles are not safe. It is not meant to be spectated. But if you are careful, you could potentially witness one when you come across it. How they keep other things at bay when they come crawling up from the deep.
It was an experience.
I can imagine it was. Have you ever seen them battle the creatures of the deep?
He shakes his head. He says, "What are the creatures of the deep?"
The word that you would use it where you're from is demons.
I've seen a devil.
Oh. You actually see he's like nearly shivers at that, and others around you seem to have a bit of a reaction. Like, the idea that you've seen a devil, like, has an effect. This is just a very visible effect on them. Such evil. I thought demons were terrible. Devils, I've heard the stories of these things. Let's speak of them no longer. I wish not to call one to our side, as they are bound to do so.
So the heart.
Yes. One of your sentiments might walk to the edge and jump, thinking it was bringing you close to the heart, but you'd be mistaken. It's not down, but up. This is why I didn't think at first that you'd be able to achieve it. But then you told me that you have the ability to choose the direction you wish to go. The question is, can you choose that without seeing where it is you're landing to? I must say that I can choose to go where I like, but in battle, being able to make a decision at a moment's notice is easier when you can see the surface you wish to stand on. It's more difficult to reiterate, to choose a direction you cannot see. Do you think you could accomplish it?
I must try.
I cannot tell you the true navigation from here. It's near impossible, because we are too far removed from the hearts to know exactly which direction it is. But if you simply went directly that way may not get you close enough. It could be one of the other directions as well. You understand?
He shakes his head. I'm sorry, I don't.
You have to imagine like you were... like the place that you're in is a ball. You stand at one point in the ball, and you're trying to get to the center of it. But that center isn't necessarily directly up from where you stand, because where you stand isn't directly facing upwards towards the center. It spins, rotates. So you may have to make multiple course changes as you go. I could travel with you for some time, a short period, but I can't go with you the entire way. As the closer we go, the effect it might have on our minds.
When he says that, he'll look at Yara and he says, "Yara, can you explain what you felt? Explain what's happened since you've been here." He might
So I
know.
feel aggravated. You're sitting there and speaking a language I can't possibly hope to understand.
Oh, I forgot about that. He'll cast a spell on her.
So you say that to her, and it's funny when she gives that response, the other guy chuckles. The guy that you've been conversing with the entire time. He actually chuckles at that. And then you cast the spell so that she can speak the language as well. And he turns to her and says, "It's a pleasure to meet you." And she says, "I'll reserve my judgment until after we've been properly met." And he'll kind of nod, almost like kind of bending one knee as like an ever so slight bow in response to that. And then she says, what I've experienced, I don't know. When I first got here, I could hear the battle at first, like I told you, but not with my ears, with my mind. And it was so loud, it was deafening. It was hard to concentrate. It was hard to... Anyways, that went on for some time. Eventually meditated, prayed, and it went away. I felt more comfortable, but I couldn't hear the battle anymore. I suppose faint, very faint, but I couldn't hear it anymore. And I just followed the two of you. And then, since then, I don't even hear the noise anymore. It's completely vanished. I don't know. It's hard to describe what I felt because I don't rightly know exactly what I felt.
Does he say anything?
Could you describe what she was like prior to her arrival here? He says, asking you, not her.
I'll explain how she's always been.
Okay. He nods and says, you are not the first travelers I've come across, as I've said. Nearly 2 centuries of scouting. You come across many different people. This place is different than where you are from. You come from a place where you are who you are, who you are. And who you are very well may change over time based off of decisions you've made or experiences you've had. Again, I am no philosopher. This is what's told to us. So I only understand it as I'm told. Here, we are who we are. And if you are different, you are bent. And if you are bent, you are broken. And then you are put back together as we are. That is perhaps the easiest way I can describe it. And as an example, the great giants that live in the caves and the castles of ice that I speak of, they have their struggles. But nobody struggles so great as the giants that live in their castles of iron with their great forges and the weapons of war that they craft endlessly. They have constructed incredible castles that it's said are designed so guarded. They guard not only from attacks, impervious to the attacks even, of those that wish to seek them harm, but impervious even to the world that we live in. It's said that they effectively do not live here because of how defended and guarded their homes are, allowing them to keep their dedicated task of building and designing, crafting for war.
He nods. Do you know what happened to my friend? To Orsk? Why this axe that feels like him? He was like me, and now this is all that remains. This axe wasn't his. I've never seen it before. But this is what I came to find.
This is again beyond me. I'm trying to explain as best as I can, so I do apologize if my answers are weak. Luckily from you, I happen to be somebody who studied well when I was young. I found these things interesting, but it was not my lot to be a philosopher. It was my lot to be a scout. You are not from here. As I said, here, you are what you are. You come from a place, you are what you will be. You come from a place where you are not what we are here, but a mix of here and other places together. When you come here, you bring a bit of that other place with you. This place likely rejects it. You said your friend died. Perhaps his body is rejected. And you are meant to take it with you when you leave. But the bits of you that are comprised of what is here, perhaps that's meant to stay. You come from a place down under.
Right. Still being confused, he'll say, okay, well, I need to get to the center. I don't know what will happen to me when I get there. But if you can accompany me part way, like you said, I have to get there. And he looks at the axe and he says, or die trying.
I dare
turn to
say.
Yara then and say, do you want to go back?
We promised to each other long ago that we would never leave each other's side. We vowed we would never leave each other's side. But truth be told, Grishka, I don't know about this place. I don't know. I feel like it rejects me. I don't know if I should be here. I know I should be by your side, because I vowed to never leave it. But I don't know if I can remain. I'm scared. I'm more scared than I'm more scared than I recall being when I was a child. He looks at you and says, do you know a means to send her back?
He nods and he says, I don't have the power to do this. It is something through Vroga's will that I am here in the first place.
Perhaps if you ask Vroga.
Assists me. If I ask Vroga what?
Perhaps he will help.
Help how?
You said you speak to him, and he gives you power.
I ask for power.
And he delivers.
Sometimes he gives it.
Have you tried asking?
What would I ask for?
Her safety?
I can... At that, he'll just take a knee.
Okay.
And he'll put one hand down on just the earth. The other, he'll probably reach out and just grab hold of her shin or something, and he'll pray. This is normally he asks for things, but he doesn't know. He doesn't know specifically what he's asking for. So he would just start speaking, I guess. He would say, what you told me how done funny one before?
He said blasphemy during a ritual.
Thank you for timing him out.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And he would just speak. He would just say, since we've come here, there's something not right with Yara. She is as devout as any. She's done many things in your name. I am here to learn what your will is. I will make it. Or I will die. Maybe I shouldn't have brought her here. I shouldn't have brought Orsk. I should have come alone. But if you can offer Yara any protection against what is going on, anything to help us to find you, to find answers, to further your cause. And he just say, please.
Roll me, sir, a religion check, and I just want to be sure. I didn't know if anybody gave you Winifred's wisdom. Give me a second. Shit got a little moved. Did I put that in there? 1 second there. Boom. I have to add 1 luck to your pool. And, okay, it looks like there's no Winifred's wisdom, but give me a second to put luck in the pool. So, increment luck pool. So you have the 1 luck die. You are welcome to roll whenever you are ready.
Alright, so just a religion check?
Yes.
Okay. $30.
Do you feel comfortable with that 30, or do you feel like you need to luck it?
I'll leave it at 30.
You do know, like, the skill checks, when you roll a DC 30 or higher, it's to the point where, like, if you consistently do so, it catches the eye of, like, an extraplanar creature, right? Like, that's one of the things.
Look, my religion has been boosted consistently, okay? That's what I want the number 1 skill to be for Grishka.
You ask this, and you think about it, and you pray, and you have images in your mind. You have an image of your mind of you jumping upwards, like you kind of like Mario jump, like woohoo, upwards, and it's traveling. And you can literally see, as you see from you jumping upwards from a perspective that's locked onto this ground, like as if it's the island itself watching you. You see you going upwards, jumping up into the air. You see Yara taking steps forward and jumping forwards. This time the perspective actually follows her as she travels, snapshot, like a jump cut, onto an island that isn't made out of land. Instead, it's like a giant floating glacier. You know what I mean? Like a iceberg, right? Floating out in the middle of the area, and a giant castle comprised of ice. You see her finding herself again, kind of like one of those things where you see her landing on the island, and it kind of jump cuts to her battling. Then it jump cuts to her making her way into a giant castle door, and then jump cuts to her standing before an actual like portal, and then you can see her stepping through the portal itself, and it brings your vision back to where you currently are, where like you had closed your eyes, you like open your eyes again, and you're still holding on to the earth beneath your feet, having just finished your prayer.
Okay, so she didn't come with me then?
In this vision that you just happened to get, it seems like she did not.
Taking a minute, I will relay everything to both the centaurs and the Yara herself. And he'll say, that's what I was shown. Rogar has other plans for you. We must part. He looks kind of dejectedly, but resolute.
Where is it that I must go? Did you say you explained it to her?
Yeah.
Okay.
I said everything.
What's his name? Chimes in, and says, "Very well. I've promised you that I would be willing to guide you as far as I believe is safe. But the other two here are very capable scouts, and it is already their task to head to scout out those castles. If you can give a description of the door that you of the path that you saw her going through, they might be able to find it, identify it for her, and see if they can help her get in. I will not make you promises, They are likely not going to put their lives on the line any greater than they already would have in attempting to aid her. But aid her they will.
He'll then give the best description he possibly can of what he just saw.
I tell you, roll a charisma check to try to translate this information well, but you're not Neil, so you'll probably succeed.
All right, let's just go with the auto succeed. Yeah, we're definitely doing a roll. We're trying. So yeah, he'll relay the information back to them. Is this a place you know
of? You talking about the doors or whatever you described? He says, the woman that still looks guarded and guarded and aggressive and whatnot. I almost said progressive, aggressive and whatnot. She says, "How the hell are we supposed to know which door it is now? We have your description. We'll look about and see what we can find."
Just nods to it.
He listens to what she says, and then he'll actually turn to you and say, "Don't mind her. She itches for battle."
I understand.
Of course you do. You are also in your youth. Many in their youth itch for battle. Which is why they do not lead the scout parties, but simply follow, as she will, follow our third. He says, looking off into the trees where the person is waiting off to the side. Your friend is in good hands. And I hope fate smiles well upon her, and she finds her way to wherever it is that she's going. Though dare I say, if she does succeed, that would be interesting news for us. Certainly would make for an interesting scout report. That apparently these giants are guarding a way to traverse, to leave this place to go to lower ones. It is important information indeed, if it proves to be true. Which is why it is of the utmost importance that we do take appropriate actions to discover if there is truth to this. She nods understanding, as does the other one in the trees. You and I, then, shall have to head off. I imagine you need a moment, as times like these, times of uncertainty, where there is much danger ahead, can be heavy. You take your moment. I'll be waiting. And he will give you, again, this time, one leg steps forward, another one kind of half steps forward. He does like a much deeper bow. And then turns and walks back to join the other one with the swords out, and even those two walk back even further. The other one that was kind of watching from the side of the trees turns and gives a bit of privacy. They step back maybe a good 200 feet or so, giving you guys appropriate privacy.
He probably sits down, kind of just takes a deep breath. I saw Yara. You have a purpose here. A little smile comes over his face.
She shakes her head and says, "No, I don't. You do. I have a way out."
I could just... It's more than that. If it was just a way out, there are other ways. You have something to learn here. Something for yourself.
I did. It's called cowardice.
He shakes his head. Succeed. Succeed in your task.
I'll try.
Probably puts a hand under the back of her head and then pushes his forehead against hers. Puts Orsk will push it into her hand. Take him.
No. You need it. You're here. I have a weapon. I have friends. You're going alone. He said he's only bringing you part the way, right? You're going alone. You need it. Besides, he's a better companion here than I am anyway, so.
shakes his head again. He's kind of got a smile on his face. He says, when you get back, if you get back before me, look after the other two. They need somebody to guide them if I don't return.
They need a good, swift kick in the ass.
He laughs. And he says, you need to be that kick.
Oh, I will. Believe you me. I'll knock Raerin down
Yeah.
a few pegs.
He laughs and he says, one thing which I haven't spoken to you about. Something you said. The Slumbering Queen. No matter how charming she comes across, how idealistic, do not trust her. Think for yourself.
Oh, I don't trust that bitch.
He smiles and nods.
Most of the time we get along very well. I have to say, she speaks well and everything she says makes sense. I agree with her almost all the time. I think it's strange how much I agree with her, actually. Yeah, I think it is strange how often I agree with her, but I don't trust anybody. Just the two of... Just you.
He nods and he says, thinking now. And you see him, he reaches for something kind of in his bag. His hand comes to rest on something and he says, do you think back on some of the times you have agreed with her? Are there any that you still agree with? Any that don't normally sit right with you?
I don't know. She thinks for a couple of moments. I don't know. Let her roll a intelligence check. So funny how it goes. It's like
7.
low def Scott. Hi. High def Scott. Hi. look like a different person. Look at the difference. Like, I'm so pale. I'm so pale. And then, hey, I've got color to my skin. Look at that. And also old man lines. All right. Anyways, she rolls a 7. I can't think of anything right now, honestly. Need a doggy cam. I mean, I could do a doggy cam, or I could just aim the camera at my crotch for you, Josh. She says, I can't think of anything right now. I'm about to jump across a gap bigger than the last time we fell, with nothing beneath me to catch me, to run across ice and fight creatures that are significantly larger than me than they are to you, to make myself by myself into a castle, to jump through a portal that hopefully brings me to a different place that exists than this place. Yeah, I don't know.
He nods and just says, well, he pulls out the chain. He looks at her. He says, just making sure your mind is your own. And then he'll just break it.
And read to me what I described it as.
Break enchantment.
Gotcha. So if there are any particular holds on her that might work, give me 2 seconds, please, sir. I need to... There we go. Oh.
I don't know if it works on target or area. Because, I mean, I don't know if there's any on me. He wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I imagine you'd want to do it on her specifically, right?
Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah.
Cool. Wait, why can't I find the... Oh, there it is. There it is. Sorry, I'm just dumb. Let me look up the rules to this spell. Let me look up the rules of this spell. Proceed, blah, 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 visual. Okay. Let me look up, one more. Break Enchantment. Breaking Enchantment. Breaking Enchantment. It is up to one creature per level, but it is per the item I made you that it is only one creature. Cool. If it's Break Enchantment only works if that spell is 5th level or lower. If the spell is one that cannot be dispelled by Dispel Magic or Stone to Flesh, Break Enchantment only works if the spell is 5th level or lower, which is fine. So yeah. You break the thing and do it and whatnot. And she's like, oh, what the fuck was that? Oh, I'm confused. Intelligence check, please.
For her?
Yeah.
Yeah. None.
Oh, I don't know. I feel different. Something doesn't quite make sense. I'll have to deal with this later. You gotta get going. Your kingdom needs you. Let's not let Orsk have died for nothing. I don't know what you did, but I'll sort it out. Oh, God.
He looks at her and he says, I thought, now your mind is your own.
Yeah, well,
And
whatever.
just say,
It was my own to begin with. It's just things are a little confusing. We'll talk when you come back. Otherwise, if you die, you don't get to find out.
Yeah, pretty much. He'll just hug her.
Mm-hmm.
And
She'll
he'll
back.
say, do us proud.
Says the one that's going off to God.
Well, hopefully I'll see you down there.
And so you guys, of course, get ready to leave, go your own separate ways, and she'll just give you that last nod, and then the other two will ride up to her. He'll ride up to you, and he'll say, "Are you ready? We'll start by making this easy. What we're going to do is you're going to choose that one up there that is a bit closer than the others, as you can see. And you're going to focus on that, and we're going to make that where you stand. While we're in the middle of the air, we will practice transitioning while you are transitioning, and we will change it to one that comes a bit closer in insight, and we'll start practicing further and further ones as we go for a bit. I'll bring you up for a while, but like I said, after a while you'll have to change your direction to calibrate it to the correct spot. You'll have to do that on your own, but I will guide you to which one is the right one."
Thank you. I appreciate the help.
You are no typical traveler. You may roll your will save and see if you can actually do this.
Well, I'd say he's an ally, right?
He's not a PC.
Doesn't need to be a PC.
He's an acquaintance.
Needs to be.
He's an acquaintance, but he was brought to you by Fortune's favor, so I'll give it to you. There you go. The Fortune's favor specifically says... Oh, I missed one word in that.
An important word.
Might be. I read a guide, maybe, ... But apparently it wasn't the word it was the word "and." Then there was a word "guide," maybe. ... So, and I was like, oh, cool. Actually, I love the Barrior. Barrior is a really cool race. It'd be a cool race to enter a guide in with, so on and so forth. So I'll totally put a guide, maybe, ... as opposed to "and guide, maybe, ...
Well, I will thank
Listen,
whoever
my
it was for the
microphone
Fortune's favor
is on
anyway.
a
Thank you
boom
very
stick,
much.
and this
I
one
appreciate
boom
it.
Stick, it has a stick that's in the way, so it covers a part of the screen. Okay, it's not entirely my fault. I can't make the microphone go in a place that works better. I can't put it behind the screen because then it comes up and over in a way that when I do my Zoom calls for work, I can't hide it. Right? I have to be able to. I moved it so I can hide it, so I can do this when I'm on Zoom calls for work. So as long as Zoom is a work thing, I have to have it set this way. Anyways, it's all good. Besides, I got to introduce a really cool race. So the Barrior is a really cool race. Moving on, you choose and you go. So it's kind of one of those things where you concentrate and then kind of like you just go up and you're like. And you're like falling upwards, like face first diving, and then you can kind of eventually reorient yourself, so you're kind of like falling with your arms open. It's funny too because when he does it, he just kind of, as a creature of this plane, he takes like 2 steps forward and kind of like jumps, but as he jumps, he falls, and it's kind of like he like jumps upwards and falls, so it's like jumping into it, and kind of like reorients himself so naturally, like it's nothing to him that he's jumping and reorienting. And as he's going and traveling up to be by your side, because he jumped pretty much at the same exact time you did, he calls to you, because it's rushing air. He says, I forgot to ask a critical question. Did you realize that before you land, you are meant to slow yourself down?
Yells out, how do I slow myself down?
And then there's like a boisterous like laugh, you know, like oh geez, kind of a boisterous laugh. At one point in time, you're able to look down to check on your friend and make a perception check. You see your companion run and jump and fall as the other two are going, and they're like, ah! And they like go back and they actually get her. And funny enough, when you like squinting your eyes, you're almost positive you see her riding on the back of one of these centaurian creatures. Literally riding on the back, holding on to it as they're flying forwards.
He'd laugh to himself.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
As he's rushing through the air.
Yep. Anyways, so it's another 34. I think it's 334. Oh, not in a row because you have 29 in there. Oh boy, I only got 29. Anyways, so yeah, you're rushing through the air. And again, it's kind of one of those things where we don't need to make checks at this point. As you're rushing through the air, you can see it's kind of, you know, going towards that first island, and you move it to this next one, and the next one, and the next one. You guys continue reorienting for a while. As you're traveling further and further along, beforehand, this place never had much of an effect on you. Never had much of a pull on you. But now it is having a bit more of that pull than it was before. You are able to feel a tug on your heart, a bit of a restlessness existing, and that didn't necessarily exist there before. Kind of what was, to a much more mild degree, being described by Yara when you guys first talked about her experience here. You feel the strange tug. The two of you fly through the air, and as you do so, at one point in time, you actually hear him calling out, "What is your name?"
He just yells at Grishka.
He says, "Cool, get out a pen because the DM won't remember it." "My name is Gilrut." Gilrut. "Grishka, look." And you're like, "Where?" And you like look down, you can see him pointing. "Look." and you actually look off to the side, and it is a truly majestic view. If you happen to, in the real world, live somewhere where you can actually see the night sky, Green probably, and Jake probably have a much greater experience of this, even though you live near enough to Sydney, maybe Viking Magoo better than you. Experience is far greater than, say, somebody like Neil or myself, pretty much anybody that lives in Eastern or Western United States. But if you look up at the night, you can actually see that there is stars that litter the sky as opposed to a few peeking through. And pretty much any night that exists, if you stare for 10 minutes or more, even within 10 minutes, you're most likely going to see shooting stars. And it's a truly majestic sight to see, right? I don't think I've ever seen one. I might have. I don't know. And that's sad. Anyways, what you look up and you see is the... Stop showing off, Green. What you look up and see... Well, actually, Steve, do you see the Aurora Australis? Do you see that down where you are? Moving on. So the when you guys are too far north, I thought you lived in southern part of your country. Anyways, so you guys as you guys are going, you happen to see what would be described, I guess, as almost like shooting stars zipping through the sky, but like long streaks of shooting stars zipping through the sky. You see two of them near to each other. And he says, "You see that there? That are the Deva."
He just like looks out there and he points. That's them in the sky.
That is them. Those are Deva.
Kind of just gives him a nod.
You guys,
are they? I mean, they're far away.
They're so far away you can just barely see a streak. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, you continue traveling. Eventually, the two of you will find yourself onto an island very different than the other two that you've experienced beforehand. You land onto the center. So it's funny because like the island that you end up landing on, he actually calls to you in advance. That there, you see that? With the water pouring off. That is where we will part ways. This is going to get strange. Do not focus on that island. As you get close, focus on the one beyond it. You need to overshoot, otherwise you'll crash. Focus beyond the island. And he gestures towards one. That one over yonder. Focus on that instead. And so, of course, you're going to pull your focus to the other island instead. And then as you guys are going, and you kind of like fly up and beyond this like bit of lands that you see before you, with water pouring off all of its edges, you can actually see as you come up and past it, you can see that this island, which again is just massive in size, but smaller than some of the other ones you've seen, and certainly bigger than some of the other ones you see, is massive in size. It just looks like a vast ocean with water pouring off, but with various bits of lands littered about. And he says, as you guys are flying past it, he says, "Look down at that! It's a beauty, isn't it? Such a place. It's so majestic."
I haven't seen anything of its like before.
He nods and says, "I'll tell you a truth. It's a bit of a secret of mine. It's a bit of a special place. So don't mess with it. It's where my wife and I spent our honeymoon. Because we have practices such as that here. Do you have that back home? After you join Union, that you will go and you'll spend some time apart. That way the thrills of Union may be sought after without onlooking eyes."
He kind of laughs and he goes, "I've heard of such a practice."
He nods and says, "Our people, we reunite every so many years' time, as to never be permanently bound to one. But my wife and I have always been united, even after her death," he says. And then he gestures and says, "This is where it's difficult. That island. Try to make that your focus. Not the island, the land itself, but the island that floats in the middle of the sea. That is what you want to be your focus. If you screw this up, I hope you're a strong swimmer." and you may make your will save.
Oh, damn. I'm not a strong swimmer. Will save.
Wow, Josh, you're mean.
What is he saying now?
And Viking, I don't want to know where you nut, dude. Like, ew. Viking, come on, man.
This guy's trying to be nice. He's, you know, he's putting himself out there, and damn, he's getting shit on.
He's trying to salt and pepper bits of his culture, and you guys are like, shh, kill more. To be fair, Neil probably would have killed him by now. He hasn't gotten onto a knee and sworn fealty yet, so he probably would have been killed. What do you mean by lower being?
Pretty much. That was nearly not 20.
Oh my god, that was so beautiful. Are you comfortable with your 21? Because you know the task you're going at is more difficult than the one you typically do.
Because I know I passed the typical one with that, but like you said, this one is harder, so 20. Hit 20.
Perfect. And with your last roll, so it's actually not a 20, remember, that's a 23. Because he's an adjacent ally, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you get a 23 total. I remember the typical DC is 16. So actually, funny enough, the DC for choosing something more specific is higher than that, whether it be by only 5 or more. That's between me and the location you're choosing. Anyways, you choose the spot and you start soaring towards it. And he actually calls out to you, Blast, let me lend you a... No. You've got it. Well, I'll be damned, he says, calling out again as the wind is rushing by. And the two of you are flying, and he says... Here's the hard part. You've got to slow down. Now. Focus opposite. Now. Now.
Another will save.
Mm-hmm. You actually pass at that. And then he says, and back the other way now. The island again now.
For fuck's sakes.
You
just want me to keep doing this.
Traversing the plains is not easy. You have to do it this way. You're not native here. That's a 23. Yeah. You actually land perfectly on the ground with a bit of an oomph. Acrobatics check.
No.
Yes, acrobatics check.
You
land perfectly. It's one of those borderline superhero landings where there's like oof to it, but there's also grace to it. You hit the ground, and you just land with kicking up sand all around you on the island where you're currently standing on. And when he lands by your side, gently touching down like a hoof, then the last two hooves touching down gently, he looks to you and says, touched by, by the will of a god you have on your side. This is incredible. A creature from the lower areas like you are, having such grace at a place like this. I am deeply impressed. I was worried for you and your decision to come here. I worry no longer, friend. I suggest you rest, though, before you travel further. If I may, because I do wish to see you succeed, and dare I say, I do hope one day we meet again in the future. May I give to you a gift?
He inclines his head and nods.
He actually reaches into like kind of behind his back where they keep their weapons. They have like chest straps. They're bare chested. They don't wear like a breastplate or anything like that. It's bare chested. He has leather straps and whatnot that are on him. Leather pauldrons or whatever. Leather what are they called? That protect your arm. Like pen because of the P. There's leather like wrist guards and pauldrons, and then a leather strap that keeps his sword strapped to his back, and a cross like bracer. Thank you, not P. That's a different word. Bracer. Thank you. Format. He actually draws out one of his swords. Again, he's a larger creature than you, right? So the sword is a bit bigger than would typically be. What would be for him? Borderline large dagger, short sword. For you is borderline short sword to long sword, in size. He says, "This weapon is one that I have earned myself from the field of battle long ago. It was not forged by my people, but instead by the giants that I described to you beforehand. Again, not the ones that live in the castles of ice, but the ones that keep themselves hid away in great iron keeps. I discovered this amongst them. It was but a blade, a knife to them. As you can see, it's much larger to me and even more so to you. It's made of a different type of alloy than I imagined you'd be familiar with from where you're from, for it's something that's mined deep within only select places that you can find here on this home of mine. Hopefully this blade serves you well."
He would look at him, reach forward and probably grab hold of the hilt, lift it up. "Thank you, Gilra. I do hope we meet again."
He nods and says, "Likewise, and be safe. Rest, please. Do not be so strong-minded. You need your rest. And the direction you go, it's barely up any longer. If you have a choice between two islands to focus on the ones that are up as opposed to the ones that are down. If possible, keep it straight across. That direction there. That's which way you wish to face." He takes the blade back. Back from your hands, like he holds out his hands for you to take it, and he'll take it from you, like by the blade, whatever it is, and he lies it on the ground, pointing in a specific direction. "A property of the blade. Wherever it faces, it will always hold true. For even though it's crafted of the metal of this place, it is imbued with the defenses of those people. It stands against the nature of all of this that is here. Should this island's turn, it will still face the same direction. Such things are rare and incredibly powerful on a place such as this. Make sure you use this whenever it is you find yourself resting, so you can always remember where it is you intended to go."
"Cannot thank you enough, Gilra."
He nods and says, "I will leave you with one last warning. You are not alone. The closer you get to the center, the more others you will come across. And something such as this, while being unique and powerful and useful in your hands, will also be useful in the hands of others. Make sure it's not taken from you. What is that phrase I heard once long before? Sleep with one eye open."
"I will."
He nods and says, "Farewell." He'll turn. He walks through another part of the island where he slows down for a moment, and he reaches down and he picks up a good fistful of sand. You can see him like looking down at it, being contemplated for 3 or 4 seconds. Then he allows the sands to slowly kind of like pour from between his fingertips as he takes his last few steps forward. As the last kind of like grains fall from his hands, he then kicks into a bit of a gallop, and right as he reaches the end of the island, he jumps, and you can imagine he changes his focus elsewhere as he kind of like flies outwards, and as soon as he comes over the lip of the water, you can see he turns and drops down below sight off of the horizon. And that, sir, is where we'll end your session for the day. So, that was good.
We're on our way now. Yeah, we're on our way.
On our way. Alone. Only one.
Yep.
There can only be one. Hey, fun fact. Spoiler alert. 3 said something multiple times over, because you can make a decision. You allowed her to choose for herself, which is what a good friend would do, right? You allowed her to choose for herself. But she made a decision in her less lawful and more chaotic mind. She made a decision based off of something, on something that she had mentioned 3 or 4 times in that conversation before she made that decision. I vowed long ago to always be by your side. And unfortunately, thanks, Muff. Unfortunately, she chose to leave, breaking her oath.
Ah, I see.
Let's see what happens to 3 in time in the future, should any or all of your characters survive long enough to discern, to discover, whatever. Poor 3. You thought 2 had it bad. Oh boy.
Well, hopefully she makes it out.
Hopefully she makes it out indeed. She's had a rough go of it, that poor girl. All right.
She has.
So anyways, before we bounce out of here for today, because I do have work today, and then actually I have the next few days off. I have tomorrow off because it's Daddy Day. I have to, right? And then Friday is Aurora's birthday, and so both Britt and I got Friday off so we can celebrate Rory's birthday. And Saturday, I was like, screw it, I'm taking Saturday off because it's Halloween, and we can't go trick-or-treating and do the normal stuff, so we have to like prep to do like a special kind of weird Halloween that we're doing for the little one and a couple of others that are coming over. And then Sunday, while not being Rory's birthday anymore, we're spending some time with the rest of the families, because we're doing very small groups of people so we can be smart and distanced and so on and so forth. And all this is on a linchpin. The fact that Brittany found out yesterday that on Friday she may have been exposed, and so today she got a test, so that hopefully tomorrow or the next day we get results so we can decide whether or not we're even going to be doing anything this weekend, which would really suck if Rory's birthday she can't even celebrate in the middle of all of this chaos. So,
do you know if they're pretty quick with the results over there? It takes us a day.
It depends on where you go and so on and so forth. But I would assume 48 hours. So we should find out Friday, which would be before, so on and so forth. And if she was actually exposed and contracted, then it takes, again, a period of time before she would become communicable, which means that maybe now, because that was Friday, now it's Wednesday, now maybe it would be communicable, like it would be contagious from her, in which case maybe now I would be just getting exposed to it myself. So if she comes back positive, that's when we have to do like a family lockdown. But that does mean I have a bit of breathing room before I would be exposed, B, contract, C, contagious myself. There's like a window of safety there. But not good either way.
No.
What's up, Lorecraft? I know you just started coming by recently. Hi, how are you? I know you just started coming by recently. I do apologize that you're only coming by for these solo sessions on Wednesday mornings. Usually there's 3 PCs. They just, all 3 of the characters kind of went into different planes of existence because things went sideways. But the one that we were waiting on the most, which is why he's getting the 4-hour spotlights, is Jake's character. For an entire season of the campaign was not there. He had to play a side character in the interim, and now finally we get to see kind of what his character's been doing this whole time. And as you can see, long periods of time are passing, days are going by and whatnot inside here. So our shopping is actually, I appreciate that, Josh. We just order from a grocery store like only a few miles away. I can call and order from them, and they just bring it out and put it in the trunk. It costs an extra $2 to do, but for the sake of safety, reducing the likelihood of exposure, so on and so forth, all we do is we just call and order, and that's how we get 95% of our goods, and they just put it in the trunk, so it's safe for them, safe for us. Everybody's smart, and then it still helps with $2 extra. So, yay, economy. But anyways, so it's 8 a.m. for you. Oh, so you must live on West Coast, because it's now 11 a.m. for me. I've been streaming since 7 a.m. my time, so 4 a.m. your time. Anyways, so Jake, anything you want to say, and then I'll say my last bit, and we gotta go so I can get ready for work.
No, just thanks for everyone for coming and watching, and the help that I've been getting as well. I do truly appreciate it, and I'm very thankful. So thank you guys.
Yeah. Okay, and I will say tonight we are playing over on twitch.tv/Lost Initiative. We are playing the game. Messi is not joining us yet because Messi is still, I think today's his last session over on Doxy's channel. So the earliest he can join us is next week, but even then he might not join us next week either. He might join us the following week because I have to finish lining up the story for his character to arrive. So Messi will be joining us not tonight, but either next week or the week after. Tonight, it'll of course be Pat, Wade, and I. Rena will be joining us an hour late because her work schedule got a little screwy this week and she didn't want to piss off her boss because they made a slight mistake. So she'll just be joining us an hour later than usual, but that's perfectly fine. I've already got the story prepared in such a way. I don't need Rena there for the first hour. Besides, we know that the first 45 minutes are more or less just a podcast of them trying to annoy me anyways. So tonight, 9 p.m. EST or 6 p.m. your time, Lorecraft, over on twitch.tv/Lost Initiative. I'm pretty sure there's a link in the, what do they call it on the YouTubes? Doobly-doo down below. Why do they use the word doobly-doo? It's not even a real word. Like, links in the doobly-doo. Like, ready to go? Wow, Vance. Good job sleeping. You ready to go?
Mate, yeah, I'm good.
Okay. You want to say goodbye?
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. As always,
Coming out.
nobody's streaming at this time. I know Doxy's channel's live, but it's just a rerun, so nobody's streaming at this time. So I'm going to not raid, unfortunately. We'll just end. One quick thing before we go, actually. My wife didn't know that I made breakfast while she was gone getting her test, so she went and got me a bacon, egg, and cheese on an everything bagel, which sounds great, but now I'm sitting here like, now it's an old bacon, egg, and cheese, like when she came and brought me the coffee, and she got me this too, and I'm like, I just ate 3 pan-fried eggs with ham and I put a little bit of cheese on my home fries that I made, and I'm sitting here like, I'm rather full. So you have a friend streaming? Oh, who is it? Neil, copy and paste their name into chat real quick. Sorry, put their name in chat real quick. I'll copy and paste, I'll raid that person. I'll absolutely do so. So it's, yeah, it's a bagel. It's a bagel. It's not a bagel.
They're not even Polish or Russian. Nice.
It's a bagel. What was that?
Not even Polish or Russian.
Why did somebody say that?
Neil.
Oh, you didn't see where Neil said that. Not even Polish Russian. Oh wow. Nothing related to. Wow. Okay.
That was great.
You know what, Neil?
That was a good time.
Listen, I was like, oh, cool. I found somebody playing D&D. Let's go raid this. All right, I'm done. I'm done trying. Everybody I do is the wrong person. They're either not live. Oh, Elder Scrolls. No, that's cool. We'll go raid Elder Scrolls. So anyways, hey guys, when we go raid this person, can you please put a message, copy and paste this message into chat? Let's, love from Naghite. Love from Naghite. This is what you wanna say. If you happen to have the emote, you can what is it? Daelric love from Naghite. Is that how you do it? How do you do it? I'm on the wrong Twitch chat. There you go. From Naghite. You can copy and paste that one. All right, except you know it's spelled wrong, but that's fine. All right, we're gonna go raid in 1 Piccadilly, 2 Piccadilly, 3 Piccadilly, 4 Piccadilly, 5 Piccadilly.